Hey, it's your boy Yahya from VRD Division. Welcome back to a new video. Today we will take a look at Twinmotion 2023.1 and we will take a look at what is new in this release of Twinmotion. There are so many cool things actually. So before we hop into the program, let's just take a quick look at what is up, what is new. I'm going to leave a link to this page in the description. So if you want to read by yourself, you can check the description. Some of the updates in the new Twinmotion is a new user interface that is more streamlined. We have improvements on path tracing. We have new materials. We have new 3D models and new industry specific templates, product viz specifically, and more. So the new interface now is much more beautiful. It's much more streamlined, nice colors, and many of the options that we used to access by clicking on so many menus, they are now all outside where we can easily navigate between things. So that's one. The second update is the new templates we have. So we have these templates for products that you may want to visualize, and I'm sure there will be more templates on the way. So now we have architecture, which is just day and night cycle. We have some products that we will take a look at. We also have new cycloramas. So these are nice things that you can add to your project, put things here, put your product there, and control the dimensions of these different cycloramas. And I think this is very cool. We also have path tracing improvements. Now path tracing supports volumetric fog, it supports quixel decals, and it has some skylight improvements and more. Also, for things like glass, they can be rendered now with depth of field without the artifacts that we used to see in the past. So transparent objects now render correctly with depth of field, which is amazing. We have different improvements on materials. So we have 78 new materials on fabric, leather, plastic, and metal. All of these are in 4K. We also have new materials for cars with flakes and orange peel. We have 34 new materials in this category. We also have improvements, general improvements on all PR materials and their naming conventions, as well as the transparent shading models we see. And we also have the option to use thin translucent shading mode, which gives us better glass in general. Now we have new ready posed humans. We have more than 300 models of these, from summer to business, construction, travel, university, and more. We have nearly 1,000 standard assets like backyard assets, sport equipment for your gym, storage, decoration, bathroom, office. We also have something I'm very excited about, which is the Twinmotion DataMath file exporter. Now we will be able to export DataMath files from Twinmotion and import these DataMath files inside of Unreal Engine. And this is absolutely amazing. If you want to see me covering this in future tutorials, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna be more than happy to actually cover this, but you know, increasing engagement. So yeah, this is something I'm really excited about. So you have your DCC applications or your PIM applications, you export that as DataMath, you import in Twinmotion, you do your thing, add your materials, your context, everything, and then if you want to add more functionality to your project, you export these from Twinmotion as DataMath and you import in Unreal Engine. So it's becoming more and more streamlined. And of course, if you want to export anything from Unreal Engine and import it in Twinmotion for any reason, you can do that. But yeah, it's amazing to see how applications can talk to each other now. We also have optimized Twinmotion file format. Cool. We have improved viewport display. Cool. It's now using TSR, temporal super sampling, and we have more. So if you want the full release notes, I will also leave a link to that in the description. And now we covered the most important updates in Twinmotion. Why don't we jump into Twinmotion? So I assume you already have Twinmotion installed on your machine. If you don't, you go to epicgames.com or unrealengine.com, click on that nice download somewhere in the corners. You download Epic Games Launcher, you make an account if you don't have one, and you go to Unreal Engine, Twinmotion, select Twinmotion 2023.1 and click download. And once you download, you click on launch and it launches. So now we wait a little bit and it will open the home. So here we have the new templates. These templates are not downloaded by default. You will need to click on download. Once you download, you can open the template you like. In this case, I'm gonna play display plinth. It's 500 mix. And will you look at that? So if you are new to Twinmotion, right click to look around. You also have this, you don't want me to tell you, but let's just do it anyway. Middle mouse button to pan around and left mouse button to orbit. So I usually right click and I click on ASDW, which are these, to move around. If you want to change the speed, it's from 1 to 6. So press 4 to go faster, press 2 or 3, 4. So from 1 to 6, it's easy peasy, right? Q and E to go up and down. I am an Unreal Engine user, so you may see this stuff here on Twinmotion, Q and E to go up and down like this, and this confused me. So from here, I like to select Unreal Editor. It will reverse these. So by pressing Q, I will go down. By pressing E, I will go up. What is this black thingy? It's just a flag. We can delete it or keep it. It's making a more dark area here. So we would not have, like, I think, so much bounced light. So if you press R, this will enable ray tracing. Let's talk about the new user interface, cover it quickly. So ray tracing now, you press R and that will just work. And let's see with and without the flag. Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely like this little trick here to stop lighting from bouncing. So we have like little dark area here. So let's just zoom in. So hide the flag. See, yeah, it's cool. But with the flag, we have this dark area. I like it. I actually really like this. Let's press R. Actually, wait. So ray tracing, just so you know, it works if you on Macintosh. I'm sorry, it does not work on Mac devices. However, if you are on PC, you need an RTX card of 2000 and above. So RTX 2080, 2070, 2060, whatever, 60. And for AMD cards, you need RX 6000 and above. You need a Windows or a system that supports DirectX 12 in order for ray tracing to work. Now, let me click here, because from here you will switch between the samples. So high is like 1024. It's 256. Give it a few seconds to calculate, and then the denoiser will kick in. You have medium and low, easy peasy stuff. And if you want to increase on this, put whatever number you want and give it its time to render that. You can do that. For now, I click on R to go back to the rasterize mode. The final little button here, cloud, when you have a project that you want to display on the cloud, you can click here, it will upload it to the cloud, and through pixel streaming, you can send a link to your clients. Honestly, this is one of my favorite features ever about Twinmotion. When we are designing a concept, if we have a building or whatever thing we are working on, and usually it's an Unreal Engine thing, sometimes we want to give the client the option to explore the area we designed. So we export that to Twinmotion, quickly add some materials, some lights and whatnot, and then upload it to the cloud and share with our clients the link that we will have from here. This is really easy, but if you want to see this in more action in future tutorials, let me know as well. But yeah, I hope this little tip helps you on how to use the push to cloud button. Now, once you switch to the controls you like, so whether you're a Cinema 4D user, Rhino user, Max user, you can hide navigation panel because it's nicer this way. Here on the tab, we have the ray tracing mode, or the path tracer mode, sorry. We have pick material. So if you click here to click here, click somewhere, you will have your material and you can make it dirtier or add more grunge, make it brighter or darker, and change the UVs. So if we click here, and I can rotate the UVs if I want, scale them up, scale them down. You can do all of that from here. So that's very nice. We also have these options here. So here you can replace a material or apply to objects. So let's do the following. I'm going to make a copy of this. So Control C, Control V. Let's make a copy for now, okay? And let's open materials here. Actually, from the library, it's still on the left. So here, materials, you will find the new materials and the old materials here. So on wood, for example, if I want to change this, since this is a copy, it's applying this on this. But if you make this, Control C, Control V, this is an instance, okay? If you do this, and then you do this, as you can see, it's applying on both materials. And maybe if you're using SketchFab or something and you have the same material, sometimes you just want to apply this on one mesh, then you want to click here, hold, apply to object, release your mouse, and then it will apply to object only. Okay, it didn't work. That's kind of embarrassing. So how do we do that real quick? Okay, I swear this used to work, But it seems if we make it copy instance like this, you will want to click on your mesh like this and right click and click on break instance here. So now the instance is broken. You can apply these now separately. Yeah, let's select these two, delete. How did I do that? I just did some magic, like align this to this on, yeah, we will do that. Wow. So, wow, wait, press shift and move the object. And this is a happy accident. If you have an object you want to move on the face, on the normals of your mesh, you can see the smile on my face, discovering happy accidents. Press shift again to make a duplicate of that. So let's make 4 for any reason. And that's amazing. The more you know. Right. Now, here, if you click on moving an object from here, from the middle, and you move it on any other object, it will align that object to the normal of that. So that's something you should know. If you move it from here, it will always move it on the X and Y. And if you click here, X, Y, and Z, it will always align that object to whatever object you are hovering on top of and align the normal. Now, if you press shift and click and drag and then release, you will have the ability to copy and duplicate objects. You can make an instance, you can make a number or a copy, sorry, then select how many you want to make of that, and then the spacing between these objects. So let's say I want it only 20 centimeters, click OK. We have that. So Ctrl Z to undo, let's delete that. So we have also here the option for the projection of UVs. So we can do cubic, let's see if that will work. Maybe you should test this on a building. So let's select this and see this if it's going to work. In this case, it's not working. Now here, for whatever reason, this is not working. I'm gonna figure it out on maybe a SketchFab model or something, see if it will work, but that's okay. Next to that, we spoke already about this, the material picker. So if you click on any object with the material on top of it and open the material, we will see the material of that object here. All right. And the material options we have, we can change the color, tinted, basically, if you want to tint. You can grunge, luminosity, spoke already about that. More details, so if you have a texture, you want to delete the saturation or increase it. Well, not in this case. The gamma, lift, gain, so we have these options. The UVs, the scale, the stretching the object or the texture on that object. So Ctrl Z to undo. Offset, let's just make sure we have this selected. Yeah, offset on Y and X. If you want to animate this, you can do that. So this is like planar node in Unreal Engine. We have that here as well. This gives me headaches, so let's put that on 0. You can control the roughness, the metallicness of the object, and for both you can go to the details panel, whether to change the texture, invert it, and so on. We also have things like the normal emissive mask, the X-ray. So this is something we can enable to see through the object. And we have MISC, Mussolini. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this. Two-sided, if you have one mesh like a plane. Let me show that in quick action. So I'm going to library and I'm going to the basic models. So we go to objects, primitives. Let's select plane and let's add one plane. And as you can see, right click when you add a plane to stop adding planes. And now let's see if this plane got any material on top of it. So I'm going to library, materials, metal. Let's add this brass here. You can see that the plane, if we enable two-sided, we can see through that plane. And here we have multiple planes. This one I can't see from. If I disable this, it will see from this face, but not from this face. So to see from this face, we need to enable two-sided on that material of that plane. So now you know. Now, next to the options we have here, so let me go back to the library. Here we have move or translate, and the shortcut for that is 7. And then we have 8 for rotation. So you click here, you type 8, you can rotate things, and 9, which is this one, to scale things up and down. So we also have these options here. So if you click or you expand, you have these new options, and these are still experimental, at least some of them. So move with collision. If you click here and let's disable this, as you can see, if I move this, I can collide these with each other. If I click here, now I can't. They will not collide. So there will be like collision, right? I'm trying to collide. Nope, it doesn't work. So I disable this and do this, and that's what we have. Now this is nice option, gravity. So I'm going to select this bag, press shift, and let's make 5 copies. And let's just click on gravity. Whoa, guys, yeah, they're gone. So let's press Ctrl Z. Maybe we need to have an object with some, so I'm gonna press not R, 8, 9, sorry. Do this and do this. Let's see if we get lucky, or we may need a floor. So wait, okay. Earlier I made a mistake. I thought shift would only make duplication of meshes, but if you have an object selected and you just press shift, it will snap that object to the normal of that other object. So the more you know. Now I'm going to hold Alt. Can I select multiple meshes without holding shift? So yeah, hold Control and click to select multiple meshes like this. And let's see if we can do the gravity. Please don't crash. Yo, nice. So yeah, gravity, disable it. Here we have the option to switch between local and world gizmo. So if you want to move this mesh like this, based on its local gizmo, you can do that. Or if you want to move on the local, you can do that. And you also have the option to change the pivot location. So I can put the pivot of this object here, and then I can stop, and then I can move this object from here for whatever reason. Maybe you import an object with the pivot, let's say it's here. So you can click here and put the pivot as close as possible to that, and then do that. So let's hold Control to select multiple of these guys here, and let's delete them. Or what would be easier, just Ctrl Z multiple times, so we can make also this area or this flag smaller. Let's go. That's regarding the options we have here. Now, I don't want to bore you to death with what we have in the library, but we have materials, you have glass, metal, wood, brick, plastic, and so on. We have vegetation, we have landscapes. So if you want to add landscape with racks, you click and drag and you wait, and we have that. And we can change the HDRI. Right now we are using an HDRI as what we have for the sky. So you have that. We have trees. We have all these nice little big trees. Actually, these are big a little bit. And when you add any tree of these trees, you can change the age. You can make it smaller. You can make it bigger, and so on. And let's go back. We have bushes, grass, detailed grass, rocks, miscellaneous. It's kind of hard to pronounce, but we have these. So that's for vegetation. We have objects, home, assets, living room, kitchen, bedroom, gym, and so on. So go to gym. You have all these new assets, which is a lot. And all of these are saved in the cloud, or most of them. So click to download that nice yoga mat. Give it a few seconds. It's pulling that from the cloud. And when it finishes download, you can just click and drag and press F to focus selection. And again, left mouse button to orbit around, right mouse button to move around. And yeah, delete to delete. It's like you didn't know. Bedroom, gym, okay. We also have city assets. We have primitive assets. So let's go back to city real quick. We have billboards, benches, fountains, planters, anything you would expect to see in a city. And what's nice, all of these asset libraries are just getting expanded and so on, which is very cool. We have primitive objects. We have decals, and these are nice. And these decals now, they render in path tracing mode, which is amazing. These you used not to render in path tracing. And the reason these are rendering now is because the new version of Twinmotion is built on Unreal Engine 5.1. I wonder when we will have Lumen in Twinmotion. I really hope we get Lumen to Twinmotion. So that's for the decals. We have particles, cool, nice little effects. If you want, or if you have a fountain, you can add this water jet. It's looking good. And we have water, cube, and cylinder. You can make these bigger and smaller. So press 9 and expand on this. And yeah, the good stuff. Cube, you can make it big if you have a city or something. So you can do that. We also have sounds, soundscapes. And what is nice about sounds, to bring life to your projects. So you can change the volume of a sound, and you can change the distance of a sound. So let's set this to like 250 centimeters. Now there is no sound, and when I enter this, there is sound. Let's delete. We also have doors, and doors, these are like animated doors. So this sliding door here, if you come closer, you will have settings for that door. And now it's opening the right door or the left door if you want, or both. And you can change the position inward, outward, and how much it opens, if you want to open this only 20% and now get closer, you'll see it's opening just 20%, right? And you have the behavior of the door. You have trigger, open, always be open, or always be closed, always get triggered when I get near you, so you open, and you can change the trigger volume, size, scale, whatever, to change that, to interact more with the objects around you. So that's for the library. In the objects, we have lights. So lights, when you click just to add lights, and when you are done adding lights, right click, okay? And I imagine all lights by default don't emit shadows because shadows are expensive. So when you want to add a light, so let's add this nice neon light. Let's press on 7, sorry. And notice when I hover my mouse, I can simply type like 500, and that will raise the object here to 500. Or I can move it like this. I press 6 to move very fast, so my bad. Right now, as you can see, this is not emitting anything. And if you want to change that, can I select you, sir? Thank you so much. You can go to shadows and you can enable whether this emits shadows or not. So that's just something to keep in mind. And the more lights you add, the more things you add to your scene, you may want to keep an eye on the stats here. So you will see how many frames you got, what is the use of the CPU, the GPU, and so on. So you know that. Let's delete this light. We have area light, we have neon light, spotlight, and omnidirectional light, which is a point light. And we have IES profiles. So all of these are nice for your interior projects. Click, 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 and then right click to stop. Now you know. All right. Next to lights, we have HDRI environments. And right now we're using something from the studio. So if you want to change this to something else, you can click and download. Give it a few seconds. While this is downloading, you may want to visit our academy. Link is also in the description. So if you're looking to learn more Twinmotion or Unreal Engine, we are doing that. We are an authorized training center. You may or may not know. But yes, check out the academy. We have free training, we have online courses, we have newsletter that you may want to subscribe to. So you know the latest and the greatest of the industry. And yeah, that's like the video sponsored by us. So this is downloaded. No, it's okay. There we go. Click and drag and wait. Be patient. There we go. It's completely different now, the lighting in the scene. So that's that. We have skies. Beautiful skies that you can explore. We have beautiful indoor scenes. Maybe you have something that is indoor. You don't want to go outdoor. You have that. And we have outdoor. If you don't want to stay indoor, go outdoor, like a city or something. We have that as well. So that's for the HDRIs. We have access to Megascans assets. We have 3D assets, 3D plans, surfaces, and decals. So the decals now, they are all work here, which is great. You click and drag and rotate if you want. And again, these decals, they render in path tracing, which is great. We have surfaces, you're familiar with these, carpets and so on. So they are handpicked for architecture. And 3D plants, you can have so many categories to choose from. And we have 3D assets. So we have these. So feel free to explore, please explore, like just so you know what we have. So Megascans is like the world's biggest photogrammetry assets. We have access to all of that. Beautiful. We also have access to SketchFab assets. So if you go to architecture, for example, you have a building or something you like, you can download it or you can search for it. So if you want a boat or a character or whatever, you can click and drag when you download your thing. Let's just do this. Let's press on 9, make this much smaller. So it's like looking cute. And let's say I want to place this building on top of this here, can press shift and click. And let's just click here again and make it much smaller. There we go. Press F, looking nice. All right, so we have the SketchFab assets. Also feel free to explore the categories we have. We have the characters and we have multiple types of characters. We have the animated humans. So these guys are animated. They look funny and low quality. Here's Cleve, here's Adil, and here is Emily. All of these characters, they have cloth colors if you want to add diversity to your scene. You have both, so what are they doing? She is speaking and she looks scared. We have idle, doing nothing, chilling. We have sitting, lying, and special. So everyone have a special animation and walking. and we have on any animation you have. So every time I think it switches between special, in this case is like special type of animation. So we have job 1, we have playing video games, and we have disabled 1, disabled 2. So this is like idle, and we can do the same setting and so on. So here I imagine we have the same on the special animations. Yeah, these are sometimes depending on the character you may add, they may have different special animations. All right, so just so you know. Next to these people, we have groups. They are groups. So if you are trying to add people, bunch of people actually, you can do that. Click and drag, and they will be loaded in your scene. There we go. Now, we also have the new post humans. So we have summer, events, business, and so on. So if you click here, all these, the ones with the download button, are the new humans we have. I will leave the exploration of these collections for you, but I just want to show you Felix. Felix is one of my favorite cats. He's chill and he's nice, and yeah, he doesn't get scared from anyone. Anyway, we have vehicles, so we have cars, buses, boats, aircrafts, motorcycles or two wheels, construction machines and tracks. So you may want to add this construction here, and you may want to select this cyclorama and make it big like this. And you may want to rotate this like this, and you may want to press F to zoom in a little and press on R to path trace this. Look at this nice, very nice path traced render. Now let's delete. So that's for the library. We have the tools, and the tools here, let's just go somewhere else. So I'm going to click on file, and I'm going to open demo scene like the lake house retreat. All right, this scene opens. So we have section. If you want to view your project from specific section, you can do that. So I'm gonna Ctrl Z, add this again, move it like this, and move it little up so we can see. We can preview a section of this house. We have things like reflection props. So let me delete this section. And if you have, let's say, a glass or a mirror, you can have slight control over that by placing these reflection props. But of course, for the best reflections, we want to enable ray tracing. So I'm disabling ray tracing. We have nodes. So if we're working with team and you have many nodes to add or whatever, you can add these nodes and select the node and type subscribe. Thank you. You can change the color, the size, and all that of any node you add, and you can change how this will face the camera. So can I select the node again? Thank you. Yeah, click here, facing camera. And let's say this node is on specific things, so you can take screenshot like this, update, and you can write the node you want to add, and anyone would click on that node, for example, change rug, right? So what rug? What do you mean? Well, I click here and say, okay, this rug, or maybe this, or maybe this. So it depends on the screenshot you take, you get the effect you want. So that's very nice. Let's go back. So tools, we have measure, you can measure, cycloramas. We spoke about this in the last scene. So you add a cyclorama you like. If you start a new scene and you select that cyclorama and change the settings of that, the height, the radius, all of these things. Get out of here. Thank you. Virtual production. This is cool. So you add an LED wall. And again, whenever you add something, you need to right click to quit. And then you can change this to chroma key or texture like this, video texture. You can add characters or a card or something, and that will render the lighting from that. You can also change this like to the configuration, and these are the LED panels. So going from number 1, 2, 3, and so on to number 240. So if you want to make this bigger, smaller, how many screens, the angle, you can do all of that. And that's honestly really nice. So let's delete this. You build your virtual production first in Twinmotion, then do it in real life. Animators, or yeah, these guys are animators. So let me show you an example. We have rotators and translators. I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to click on Open Home. So Show Home Panel. And let's click on the work table here, for example. I'm going to click on No, don't save. All right, so now we loaded the scene. And here you can see this is a rotator object going around. And where is it? How do we think it's yeah, the turntable mesh here. This is like always rotating. So you can select on this here, hide the placeholder. And as you can see, we have two rotators for each of our meshes here. So the shoe and the base under it. And we have this turntable, and under that turntable, you have these meshes here. So if you decide you want to, you can click and drag and add this under the turntable and it will rotate. So you click, you find these. So you have rotator, you can add that. You have rotating door, you can add that. So this is like an example here. And as you can see, the folder, we have the casing of the door or the frame, we have the rotator object, and we have the door. And when you click on the rotator object, you can select the angle, the type of animation, if it loops, if it's just once, and how it gets triggered. That's very cool. The same for translators. So you have also examples on how to use that. So the sliding door here, sorry, is like using translator. So now you know. And I think that's all for the library. Obviously here on the right, we have our details panel on any mesh we click on, and we have the type of the scene. So you have your word outliner, I would say, like the scene, if you hide it, if you unhide it. Yo, look, we have lights as well. So that's that. And here you have all sorts of the things you're going to import. And when you click on something that we can change, you can see its settings here. And if you click here, you can see more settings. So like you have all the settings on the left and the word outliner on the right, or you can put them under each other. And if you wonder, hey, how do I change the lighting or the ambience of my scene? You click on ambience, and here you will have these settings for the ambience. So this is what I mean with streamlined user interface. So we have the environment. So right now we are using an HDRI. We are not using an environment. So we do that from here. So if we go, for example, to HDRI environment, I'm gonna disable this. And now we can change the sun. And right now, the sun, when we click like this, nothing is happening. That's because from the details, you can change the sun intensity. So the sun size, where is the sun? Here's the sun. Can make it big, another planet, reflection, moon intensity. So let's reduce this. Stars intensity, exposure compensation. If you want to see things slightly clearer, where is the moon? We need to switch to the moon, that's why. Actually, let's just do this. So now we can see we have the stars and we have the moon. This is definitely another planet. So let's disable exposure compensation, and we can change the exposure from here if we want. And that will control the location of the moon. So we have these settings here. Feel free to explore and have some fun. So I will change this like this. There we go. Now you have more options. Ambient, white balance, you can change that as well. The main exposure settings or camera settings. Have the weather. So if it's raining, if it's cloudy, if it's winter, if it's summer again, this depends on the scene you open. And we have the details. Do we have fog in the scene? Do we have wind speed? So if you have some sort of trees, you can change. So let's just do it. Here's a tree and here's a tree. And let's open the ambience and let's change the wind speed a lot. You can see like it's going crazy, these leaves here. You put this to 0 or like close to 0, you can see they are chill. So we have these settings, we have the location, the sun, you can offset where north is. And if you don't want sun, you can enable an HDRI. Now, when you enable an HDRI, you may want to set the sun on 0. So in this case, I would go here and set the sun intensity and the moon intensity both to 0. So my HDRI would have like all the control I want to have over my scene. So that's that. And you can change whether the HDRI affects lighting or not, or it just, if you have a sun, you can lock the sun if you're using a sky. So let's do it real quick. Sky, low sun, clear, for example. Do we have something? Yeah, I have here. You may want the sun too, it depends. So right now, if I enable my sun intensity, the sun will always come from here. So that's what we mean by lock sun to the HDRI. And now you will notice the shadow of the tree is going to change when we rotate our HDRI. That's because the sun is locked to that, okay? We have horizon. So horizon, I think we need to add a picture first. So if you add mountains, you can see mountains. you add bay, you add a European city, all of that. You can change that like it's a cut plane, you know, from the horizon. If you want some ocean, you also can enable that, and you can change the height of that ocean. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, delete that tree. So that's regarding the user interface here. Now we have the scene. So from here, you can enable and disable some of these settings. You have the properties if you don't want that. Let's say you don't want the library as well to have a big, full nice view like this. I like it. We have, maybe you're working on media, you're making cinematic and you don't want anything to disrupt you. You can do that. XYZ, if you click on any object like this, you can put their settings on the XYZ, the transform, maybe the same for the camera. So let's see, what do we have here? Minus 50. Yeah, you have control on that, which is very nice. And we have view sets. So view sets, let's enable the scene, for example. And let's say in this view set, let's create the first view set. Let's say I have all of this. In the next view set, let's say I don't want the door, or maybe I want for this to be hidden. So I create new view set. So now I can change between my views like this, and I can update or refresh. So now this would not change. Actually, wait, now this change, refresh, and yeah, now they are the exact same. So if you decide, hey, I want in my view here to have this hidden and this hidden, and I don't want this or this, I can refresh my view, and now we have, you may have like multiple products, multiple things, multiple lights, so you can decide what's visible, what's not, so you won't like unhide and so on. So these are very beneficial, and you can right click to delete, move it up, down, give it a name and so on. So that were the view sets. And finally, before we wrap up, in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how we can import things from different sources. So we have geometry, FBX, data math, you have direct link from programs that support direct link like SketchUp, Revit, and so on. You have landscape, you can import height maps and point clouds. So we will cover this in more depth. I already downloaded some nice models from SketchUp. We have materials. So this will show you all the materials you have in your scene. Maybe you want to click and drag to assign materials real quick like this. You have populate, and this is something we could also cover in the next lesson, but you have multiple options to populate. You can populate paint. So if you have foliage or things selected, so let's do in this case, little nice push like this, and you can change the diameter and you can paint these pushes around. We may need bigger floor, but that's basically populate. We have paint and scatter. Maybe you have like big floor where you want to add many or lots of grass, you can do that. So this will be covered in the next tutorial. We have path, characters. You simply click and drag to add path around. I'm going to right click and give it a few seconds, and you will see people walking on the path. And the same for multiple other options we have. So we have characters, bicycles, vehicles, and custom, anything you may want to add. Let's say you have a factory or whatever, you can customize your path. Urban, you may want to search for, let's say, New York or whatever city you have. Just type search and find, let's just do it again. For some reason, it's not working. There we go. So yeah, now it's working or not. You would usually select a place in the map and you click download and place, and that will download the context around that area. So maybe you have a real world location. This is not the best location to download. This is kind of annoying also to walk around. So let's see if, hey, you know, let's say Berlin. Let's see, can you take me somewhere nice in Berlin, please? Not today. We will talk about this in future. Let's see, I just like, it doesn't want me to talk about it. So that's what it is. So that's for populate. Path and foliage will make more sense when we talk about them within project, real project. So it will be more fun to use. I don't want to use them here. And media, let's say you have the ability to capture media basically. So you can create screenshots like this with different lights and different scenarios and so on. These are screenshots. You can capture videos. So this is really good that we have these videos. So click on play. You have lights walking around and you can render out these videos. Hey, we have people walking around. You ruined my shot. Thank you. And we have panorama. Hey, I like this view. Stop ruining my shots. And click here to add panorama from like a 360 view from this area, as you can see. And we have panorama sets if you want multiples. So create, edit, and manage panorama sets. You can click and add multiple sets. So click and drag your set here. So these are very important when we have a presentation, when we want to push things to the cloud. So click here. Wait, where is it? I want to show push to cloud. Could be here. I got bad news. I forgot from where I can show how to change controls, but that's okay. I will do it in another lesson, or if I remember, I'm gonna make like a small video and put it in the description. I'm sure there is a way. I just forgot. Now, to wrap up soon, we continue back to media. We have here our presentation. So if you have multiple pictures, multiple things going on, you can click and drag from your library how you want to present your project. So these are definitely for the next lesson as well on how we can do this professionally. And we have our phasing group. So if you have a building in construction, you can do that as well. And under export, so from here, you can export images, videos, panoramas, your presentation, and to the cloud. Hey, look at that. We can export to the cloud from here. Click here. I think we can do more than that from here. I want to upload our project. Stop walking on the table, please, guys. Can you stop? Thank you. All right, few little things to talk about before we finish. So under edit, you can go to preferences, and under settings here, you can change your unit setup from centimeters to feet to inches to meters. You can change the timestamp, the graphics, path tracing effects, and so on. Path tracing settings, so on. So you have, if you want to autosave to work, you may want that, you may don't want that, it's up to you. How VR works, so which is the dominant hand for controls to interact with your scene, and VR is definitely something we're going to cover as well, so you should maybe subscribe if you want. Maybe. I actually appreciate it. And we also have this cool document. So shortcuts we have depending on the language you choose. So in English, in this case, you will find this Twinmotion shortcuts. So it's kind of, you don't want me to tell you about the shortcuts anymore, but that's why I left it to the end of the video. I'm just kidding. So we have that here. You may want to print the shortcut thingy for reference. It will be useful. If there is anything you want me to cover in the next lesson, please do let me know in the comments below. I hope you found this stuff useful. I'm really happy with this new release of Twinmotion 2023.1. I love the new user interface. I love how streamlined everything is. And yeah, it's really much easier than how it was before, clicking on different menus, then enter a menu and so on. So now we have everything outside like this, which is very cool. So this was your boy Yahya from VR Division. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and see you soon. Cheers.